This is the Will Abear Show.
Oh, just a minute. There's one little housekeeping chore I need to do before we get started. I need to bring this up. It's just, it's just so funny that if something sits so long in one place, you just kind of need to keep it clean. And so I'm gonna wipe it down. That should do it. Okay, let's go with the show.
We are the
That's good.
We are the proud grandparents of Will Abear, and we are pleased that Will has invited us to be the guest hosts for this week's show.
We have real names, but we prefer the nicknames that were given to us by our grandchildren. I am Susan Abear, better known as Nini.
I am Bill Abear, aka Didi.
We are excited about hosting this week's show, and we're also a little nervous about standing in for the popular show host, Will Abear.
As our regular viewing audience knows, Will Abear has the exclusive broadcast rights for the Abear Fantasy Football League. The show is broadcast weekly on YouTube and has a great following of family members who look forward to watching the show.
We are now in week 3 of the 2024 season, and there are no undefeated teams. Let's look at the results of last week's games.
The first matchup was Mason's Harrison Butker's Kitchen team against my Yellowstone Bison team in a close contest decided by 2 Monday night football games. Mason's team won by a score of 108 to 106. 2 players were the deciding factor in this contest. Bill's running back, James Cook, rushed for 39 yards, scored a TD, and earned 18.7 points. Bengals wide receiver Jamar Chase had a big night, making 6 receptions for 118 yards, scoring 2 TDs, and earning 29.8 points. Cook and Chase accounted for 48.5 points, enough to overcome a 23-point deficit going into the Monday night football games. Saints wide receiver Chris Olave played well and earned 18.7 points.
Mason left some points on his bench. Washington quarterback Jaden Daniels, bench, earned 28.06 points, while Cardinals quarterback Kyler Murray, starter, had 14.78 points, a difference of 13.28 points. Giants running back Devin Singletary, bench, earned 18.8 points, while Dolphins running back Devon Achane, starter, had 8.8 points, a difference of 10 points. So if Mason had started Singletary and Daniels instead of Achane and Murray, he could have improved his score by at least 23 points.
My Yellowstone Bison team had strong performances from Joe Burrow, Jonathan Taylor, and Amon-Ra St. Brown. Bengals quarterback Joe Burrow passed for 324 yards, accounted for 3 TDs, and earned 25.36 points. Colts running back Jonathan Taylor rushed for 110 yards, scored 2 TDs, and earned 26.5 points. Lions wide receiver Amon-Ra St. Brown had 7 receptions for 75 yards, scored a TD, and earned 20.5 points.
Didi could have improved his team's score by starting Seahawks wide receiver DK Metcalf instead of Zay Flowers. Metcalf had 4 receptions for 104 yards, scored a touchdown, and earned 20.4 points. And Flowers, the starter, had just 3 receptions for 20 yards and earned only 5.3 points. Another bench player, Steelers running back Najee Harris, earned 13.6 points, while the starter Titans running back Tony Pollard earned an anemic 5.9 points.
Moving on to Game 2, a match between B3's 1.21 TJ Watt's team and Will's Master of Cuppets team, with B3 coming out on top by a score of 115.88 to 101.34. B3 had solid performances from his starters. Chiefs quarterback Patrick Mahomes earned 16.38 points. Bengals running back Zach Moss earned 20.7 points. New York Jets wide receiver Garrett Wilson earned 14.3 points. Falcons running back Bijan Robinson earned 13.2 points. Bills tight end Dalton Kincaid earned 13.1 points. Bears wide receiver DJ Moore earned 15.2 points. And even his defense and special teams from the Seahawks earned 12 points.
B3 could have done even better if he had used his bench more wisely. Eagles tight end Dallas Goedert had 10 receptions for 170 yards and earned 27 points. Texans wide receiver Stephon Diggs had 10 receptions for 94 yards and earned 20 points.
Will Hebert was distraught before the games got underway. His star player, Rams wide receiver Cooper Kupp, was ruled out and may miss several games. Will had one bright spot on his team, Seahawks running back Zach Charbonnet, who rushed for 91 yards, scored 2 TDs, and earned 26 points. Saints running back Alvin Kamara had a good game, rushing for 87 yards and earning 16 points.
Will had 3 players on his bench who could have made a big difference in the outcome of his game with B3. Panthers running back Chuba Hubbard rushed for 114 yards, scored a TD, and earned 28 points. Vikings running back Aaron Jones rushed for 102 yards, scored a TD, and earned 26 points. Washington wide receiver Terry McLaurin had 4 receptions for 100 yards, scored a TD, and earned 20 points.
Yes, Will had 74 points sitting on his bench. He lost by 14.5 points. Starting any one of the 3 players would have enabled him to win the game. Turning now to Game 3, another close game.
Sabrina's Swift Kick team defeated Will Berry's, the strongest of Will's team, by a score of 137.2 to 132.06. Sabrina got strong performances from 4 of her starters. Eagles running back Saquon Barkley rushed for 147 yards, scored 2 TDs, and earned 33.6 points. Ravens running back Derrick Henry rushed for 151 yards, scored 2 TDs, and earned 30.4 points. Vikings wide receiver Justin Jefferson had 6 receptions for 81 yards, scored a TD, and earned 20 points. Buccaneers wide receiver Chris Godwin had 6 receptions for 52 yards and scored a TD and earned 17.3 points. Looking at Sabrina's bench, Washington running back Austin Eckler earned 13.7 points. Eckler was the only bench player on Sabrina's team with double-digit points. However, position by position, no bench player earned more points than a starter.
Will Berry's team was very competitive and had strong performances from 3 players. Cowboys quarterback Dak Prescott passed for 379 yards, had 3 TDs, and earned 29.86 points. Rams running back Kyron Williams rushed for 89 yards, scored 3 TDs, and earned 31.6 points. Chiefs wide receiver Rashee Rice had 12 receptions for 110 yards, scored 1 TD, and earned 29.1 points. Barry's star player, 49ers running back Christian McCaffrey, was placed on injured reserve before the season began. There is an expectation that McCaffrey will miss at least 6 weeks before he returns to the starting lineup.
In Game 4, Porter's, the Sigma's team, defeated my Smart team by 50 points. The final score was Sigma's 152.78 and my Smart team 102.82. Games 1, 2, and 3 were decided by 2 points, 14 points, and 5 points, respectively. All close games. A total of 21 points separated the winners from the losers. Porter's team won by 50 points, a blowout victory for the Sigmas. Porter had solid performances from his starters. Ravens quarterback Lamar Jackson gained 182 yards, scored 2 TDs, and earned 25.98 points. New York Giants wide receiver Malik Neighbors had 8 receptions for 78 yards, scored 2 TDs, and earned 28.2 points. Browns wide receiver Amari Cooper had 7 receptions for 86 yards and scored 2 TDs and earned 27.6 points. Jets running back Breece Hall rushed for 54 yards, scored a TD, and earned 18.3 points. Eagles wide receiver Devontae Smith tallied 14.9 points. His New York Jets defensive
Special
teams earned 16.0 points.
Nini's one bright spot was Bills quarterback Josh Allen, who passed for 263 yards, scored 4 touchdowns, and earned 30.92 points. 2 other players had decent performances for Nini's Smart team. Cardinals wide receiver Marvin Harrison earned 17.4 points. Cowboys tight end Jake Ferguson earned 15.5 points. Chiefs kicker Harrison Butker tallied 13 points. Nini's Smart team had subpar performances from Cardinals running back James Conner with only 3.5 points. Raiders' Zamir White had 3.4 points, and Titans wide receiver Calvin Ridley had only 1.9 points.
So, with Week 3 games in the book, there are 4 teams with records of 2 wins and 1 loss. Porter's, the Sigmas, Will Abear's Master of Cuppets, Susan's Smart team, and Mason's Harrison Butker's Kitchen team. And there are 4 teams with 1 win and 2 losses. Sabrina Swift Kicks team, Will Berry's The Strongest of Will's team, B3's the 1.21 TJ Watts team, and Didi's Yellowstone Bison's team. It is still early in the season, but Porter has certainly established his team as one of the top contenders to the league championship.
Fantasy football is all about scoring points. The goal of every team manager is to start players on the roster who have the greatest potential to earn the most points each week. With that in mind, I looked at the total points scored by each team for the first 3 weeks of the season. It won't come as a surprise that Porter's team ranks first in scoring, with 434 points, a comfortable margin over Sabrina, who ranks second with 409 points. Will Abear ranks third with 392 points. Will Barry ranks fourth with 386 points. Mason is fifth with 358 points. Nini is sixth with 344 points. B3 is seventh with 336 points. And I am last with 286 points.
Let's move to the weekly awards. The Golden Chainsaw Award goes to Porter for his impressive win over Nini by a score of 153 to 103. Congratulations to Porter. Sabrina and Will Berry had strong performances, but Porter dominated in week 3.
We came up with a new award this week, and we call it the Savviest Team Manager Award. And this award goes to Sabrina. She could have improved her score by a meager 5 points, which means that she did a great job of picking her starters. So Sabrina, congratulations on winning the Savviest Team Manager Award this week.
All right, the Cond Award goes to Will Abear, who had the lowest point total in week 3 with 101.3 points, and he could have improved his team score by 36.8 points. Didi, B3, and I were well behind Will for his uncoveted award, but all 3 of us could have improved our point totals between 26 and 30 points.
Before we end the show, we'd like to take a quick look at the matchups for week 4.
All right, Didi's Yellowstone Bison team versus Porter's, the Sigma's team. Porter's team is favored to win by 10 points.
Mason's Harrison Butker's kitchen team versus B3's 1.21 TJ Watts team. Mason is favored to win by 10.5 points.
Will Abear's Master of Cuppets team versus Sabrina's Swift Kick team. Will's team is favored to win a close contest by 4 points.
Will Barry's the strongest of Will's team versus Nini's smart team. Barry's team is favored to win by 12 points.
Thanks for watching the Will Abear Show. Didi and I enjoyed hosting the show, and we hope that you will tune in again next week. Have a great day.
Have a great day.